Okay, the next speaker is Noritsugu Hayashi.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, my name is Hayashi at the University of Tokyo. Okay. So in my talk, I'll discuss my research exploring the obligatory use of active markers such as who, and also in a certain type of discourse. Observations are made mainly here. So let's jump in by looking at some examples that demonstrate when active markers become obligatory. First, consider scenario like number one, where speaker A says John came to the store. If speaker B simply says building without pattern, it's introduces, but adding to can fix it. We see the same pattern in Japanese. We have an explicit question given by speaker Q, which followed by speaker A's answer, and without adding marker and instead using a neutral under case marker, which is gone. Speaker B's utterance sound introduces. The inclusion of more is needed to make it very explicit. So let's define the terminology for this structure that we are interested in. The three-part conversation is just now involves first a given question or given query that sets up an issue, a previous answer by speaker A that provides an initial response, and a subsequent answer by speaker B that provides additional information. The observation can be expressed as in this way, providing a given question and a previous answer, which is confirmed by the speaker. The subsequent answer must be marked with an active marker. The literature has proposed several factors that influence the obligatory use of active markers. The first one is implicatures such as the scalar implicature and the exhaustivity implicature. In my understanding, Krifka and Sevu proposed that active markers are motivated by the need to cancel such an implicature. Active markers can cancel such an implicature, which might cause a contradiction between the previous answer and the subsequent answer. Another factor is the discourse question, or in other words, the question and discussion. Krifka and Sevu's proposals actually, in fact, underlay QD. So the QD account and the implicative account are, in fact, not mutually exclusive. When QD emerges in implicatures, and the implicatures in turn motivate adding markers. We also have Ziva's idea, which is recapped by Hayashi and Ziva 2012, which says speakers have to mark additivity because it stands in competition with interpretations in which the new values for the Dutch elements have to replace old values with a correction for the antecedent. Other factors such as alternative propositions or alternative utterances and the saliency of antecedents also should play a role in the theory, but I will skip them for time consideration. And now provide an overview of the key ideas in my proposal. First, I challenge accounts that rely solely on implicatures. I'm going to show that adding markers can be obligatory in the absence of the relevant implicatures, and optional and even disallowed in the presence of the relevant implicatures. Instead, I promote a QD-based account that particularizes Ziva's idea of avoiding correction. So there's a tendency to treat confirmed previous answers as finalizing the given QD, From this, we can develop the notion of remnant question or RemQ, which is roughly defined as the intersection of QED and the answers. So in most cases, the RemQ is not inclusive anymore. So either the given previous answers have some inclusive elements that make the RemQ inclusive, or otherwise you must use an additive marker to revise the RemQ so that we can undo the finalized question and continue to add the subsequent answer. And now take a look at a previous work which is representative about implication-based counts. The original research question was about the difference between additive markers and other focus markers such as scholarly markers and exclusive markers, which is not the main point of today's talk. But what's interesting and important is that it posed the idea that the semantics activity allow additive markers to fit into the contrasted topic focus construction. According to this theory, additive marker construction is a special case of the topic focus construction, which has two important properties. The first property is what we call disputability. Because activity fits into the city focus construction, the subset of activity, which is a contrast topic, must be contrasted to the previous answer. The second property is what we call distinctness. Additive marker functions similarly to the variant focus, which means that the marker is both obliged and licensed by a previous answer. As in this one, number 3, the previous answer, Peter ate pasta, suggests that the other person didn't eat pasta, which is known as the exhaustivity implicature. So in this case, you need to use an emphasized affirmation, which Kripke attributed to the additive marker 2 to counter this exhaustivity implication. The focus alternatives of 2 consist of an affirmative proposition and a negative proposition. The negative proposition needs to be contextually anchored, and in this case, it is an anchor to the implicature of the previous answer. And the additive marker serves to challenge this implicature with the affirmative alternative, which happens to be identical with the previous sentence. So now I would like to critically examine Kripke's theory. First of all, the notion of distinctness is a rather vague and unsophisticated idea. It could refer to the scalar implicature or the exhaustive implicature, both of which are robust enough to motivate additive marking. But it can also refer to the ignorance implicature, which is a weaker one and is not strong enough to motivate additive marking because it may not contradict the subject answer. However, in the discourse number 4, which contains the weaker implicature, what we see is that additive marking is still necessary. The second issue with Kripke's theory is that it's silent about the effect of indefiniteness in the discourse number 6. So as a baseline case, in number 5, we have a question of who knows the password, and we have speaker A's answer that handful does. After speaker B confirms speaker A's answer by Sontorius, he must use the additive marker more if he wants to contribute to discourse with his own answer. And otherwise, his contribution will be understood as a correction to the previous answer. On the other hand, discourse number 6 is a contrasting pair with number 5, in which speaker A uses an indefinite director. In this case, speaker B can add his answer without an additive marker. Indeed, we have such an interpretation that speaker B acknowledges A's answer and at the same time addresses A's unpronounced version induced by the But to be honest, the letters number 6 is not challenging for Kripke, but it is challenging for other implication-based accounts such as stable 2004. He suggested that exhaustivity also emerged from the subsequent answer, which is B's answer itself. This means he predicts obligatory additive marking if B is answered in number 6, but this is not the case. The last problem is that conjunctions and universal quantifiers cannot co-occur with the additive marking. In number 7, after speaker A answers that Hanako knows the password, speaker B can answer after speaker A that Hanako and Taro know the password. But in this case, speaker B cannot use additive markers. The exhaustive implicature is expected to emerge from A's answer. So according to Krifka's distinctness, B's answer should be marked with an additive marker. But to the contrary, it's not even allowed. In fact, Krifka is technically able to exclude the use of additive markers here because Hanako and Taro is not a disputable answer against the previous answer, which Hanako knows the password. Disputability has been stipulated also by subset works such as Yasin's, Aya, and Zivat, Biva and Clark, in Thailand. But it wants a deeper account of why it must be so. So based on the issues we have seen, I will now give some ideas that underlie my proposal. The first observation shows that exhaustivity is not only factor to necessity additive marking. And the second observation shows that it's neither exhaustivity nor ignorance that matters. Rather, the key is indifference. Indifference is known to open up a global question, or alternative sets that feed subsequent semantic and pragmatic mechanisms such as the free choice implicature, the interaction with conditionals, and the recalculation for the saliency of potential QEDs that might affect the choice of correct construction and non-correct constructions. Based on these insights, I will now give an overview of my analysis. For a purpose, Matthias Beschler's recent theory of attention semantics and pragmatics could be a good starting point, which has nothing to do with machine learning, obviously, but it is related to alternative semantics and inquisitive semantics. We are going to assume a two-dimensional semantic with the information and the attention dimension. In most cases, the two dimensions will converge. But indifference and disjunctions are special in that they open up an alternative set exclusively in the attention dimension. So based on this, Beschler extended the Grayson maxims to both of the dimensions in a parallel manner. So information maxims or I maxims handle truthfulness of the information, the relevance of the information, and the ignorance of other answers, which is the quantity picture. Attention maxims or A maxims handle possibilities of the attentions, the relevance of the attentions, and the lack of exhaustivity of other answers, which is again the quantity picture. I don't delve into the technical details of this framework, but according to him, it predicts the free choice effect in a decent way. So in this talk, I'm going to conceptually extend Rachel's notion of attention. Originally, attention represents epistemic possibilities, but I reinterpret it as a device of discourse management. In particular, this is a device tracking what answers are closed and what answers are still explicitly left open. Conversation maxims now arise normal time from answers and the remnant QED, or what I call the rem Q. The I maxims are applied to confirm answer projected in QED, and the A maxims are applied to their attentions projected to the QED, which is identical to the rem Q. This means we are committing to a particular model of pragmatics. The model Krifka and several would have assumed is a straight model or an I model. In this model, implicatures arise from QED and its answers, and additive markers are employed to avoid conflicts between answers and implicatures. In other words, it's implicatures that drive obligatory additive marking. But what we must have instead is what I call a Y model. So the rem Q arises from the given QED and the previous answers which are confirmed. And REMQ is defined as the section. REMQ we have two independent effects. The first one is that confirmed answers and the REMQ derive implicatures in a non-monotonic way. The other one is that REMQ will restrict possible subsequent answers independently of implicatures. The point is that Y model separates implicatures and answerability so that whether to use at least or not does not affect the necessity of additive marking. Rather, it's a REMQ that determines answerability. And I'll give a quick overview of the details of our formal frameworks. First, for discourse management, we can use a table model by 500 rules tracking commitment, unity staff, and conversation rules. Among conversation rules, we have question, answer, request for confirmation, and different types of confirmation. Total confirmation to partial confirmation, which means confirming information but rejecting attention, and a total rejection. The QED stack allows us to represent discourse history as a tree structure. We need such a tree structure to represent discourse revisions because we will assume the discourse effect additive marking to be some kind of revision. Next, for semantic framework, I adopt the state-based semantics without downward closure assumptions. This ends up being equivalent to the standard Ruthian alternative semantics. So the choice between alternative semantics and state-based semantics is not so important for our immediate purposes. But state-based semantics is more powerful and useful for other considerations like the pre-choice effect and the ignorance implicature, which is not cancelable, which makes a better choice in general. So in state-based semantics, proposition roughly correspond to alternative sets in the classical logic. And local operators for pairwise operations on each alternative in sets, and global operators are operations working on whole sets of alternatives. Besides, we have closure operators such as the upward, downward closure, and the local conjunctive closure. What's also important for us is the inclusive projection operator. Proposition alpha projected to question kappa is answers in kappa, which can be resolved by alpha. So our semantics should be multidimensional to distinguish the information and the attention dimension. For example, John works is translated to both John in both informationally and attention. And that John or Mary work is translated to increase the disjunction both informationally and attentionally. What's interesting is the case of indefinites, where the information dimension is not inclusive, but the attention dimension is inclusive. The attention dimension is determined compositionally based on the information dimension, so the attention dimension is actually a derived dimension. The special rule is that disjunction and existential quantification are translated with a global disjunction informationally with a global disjunction attention. After an answer is submitted to given QED and confirmed by all other speakers, the answer projected to the QED and its attentions will determine the REMQ. First, the way of deriving implicatures is as what Westra proposed, which I don't repeat here. Second, we consider the answerability condition. In most cases, the attention dimension of speaker A's answer is not inclusive. This means the REMQ is not inclusive either, and any logically independent answers cannot be made anymore. In number 8, after speaker A's answer that John ate pasta, speaker B cannot add a subsequent answer that John ate pizza unless speaker B intends to make a correction. If speaker B wants to add a subsequent answer, he must use an additive marker. So I will now demonstrate how the theory predicts the data we have seen. First, we look at the case of at least, which is example number 4. First, a question is submitted by speaker Q, and the speaker A answers that John ate pasta. But it's not John ate pasta. At least Hannibal is possible. A request for confirmation is implicitly made by speaker A immediately after the answer. B confirms A's answer by saying exactly some policy, and now A's answer is confirmed. The remnant question is given QED intersected with A's answers attention. In this case, A's attentions are the proposition that only Hanako knows the password, and the proposition that Hanako and someone else knows the password. And the implication is that A has no idea about which is true and which is or which is false. That's how the marker at least work according to the viewing and Kennedy. Next, we check out the answerability condition. The first alternative projected to answer in the QED that Hanako's password, but the other alternative is not projected any answer in the given QED because it does not resolve any answers in the QED such that Taro knows the password and John knows the password, etc. So this means you can speaker B cannot answer that at least Taro knows the password. If you when speaker B uses an active marker, then the speaker A's attention dimension is revised with this global junction. By this, speaker B can add his own contribution again, because the question is now open-ended. And for the indefinite case, it's obvious because the indefinite directly opens up questions in the attention dimension in the first place, so he can answer he can add his answer without any problem. For stronger answers, the REQ is indeed not inclusive, but B's answer is strictly logically stronger than the only answer, remnant answer in REQ. So actually, B's answer resolves the remnant question. So there's no motivation for active marking, and it is not allowed. So this is all for today's presentation. Thank you for listening and taking time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for wonderful presentation. So I was thinking about the case where the question itself does not require an exhaustive answer, like mention some questions. In that case too, I think we need to add more to add an answer. So and I thought in that case the things should work like number 4 at least. Hanako does or something like that. So or is my understanding correct, or do you have any idea about the mention some question?
You're correct and perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
It should work in this way.
In the same way.
Yeah.
And number 4. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions?
At the site where you will that 25% consumption by its markers, right?
This example.
And when you discuss a grid, it's grid just so like
Go back. Here's a slide.
yeah, this one. So yeah, it's correct that we cannot say everyone does too. We can say everyone else does too, right?
Yeah, everyone else does.
And the same with conjunction, right? If we exclude Hanako from there, we can say Karo and So,
Yeah, you can say go, but it is because you exclude Hanako.
Yeah.
From the subject question. So the subject question and the previous subject answer and the previous answer are now distinct or logically independent.
Mhm.
So there is no need to use that marking.
right. So if you include Hanako in the subsequent answer, it's like replacing the answer, right? It's not edited.
In this case, it's not additive. Yeah. So I think so maybe I just said it wrong just before, but additive means an answer is added to another answer which is logically independent of that previous answer. In this case, it is not the case because the previous answer and the subsequent answer are logically not independent, but rather the one entails the other one. So it's not happening. Yeah, thank you. That's
What's that? Okay, I think sometimes the use of to does bring a difference to the choose condition. So for example, Mary went to study abroad and John made a bad decision. Versus Mary went to study abroad and John made a bad decision too. I think these two sentences have different interpretations, and I think in this case the use of to does have an influence on the choose condition. So can this also be included in your analysis for two?
So what kind of addition or choose conditional effect you are assuming?
So if we say things like Mary went to study abroad and John made a bad decision.
Yeah.
Actually, there's no meaning, there's no inference that Mary made a bad decision. But if we say that Mary went to study abroad and John made a bad decision too. So that's the inference that Mary's
Mary had a bad
bad
decision.
decision, right?
But yeah, this kind of discourse effect is expected in so QD-like theories in general, such as Yasinskaya, Kalumba, and other people. So basically, in such a case, you actually making an intermediate or intermediate question of discussion, which has a shape like the Mary or John make a bad decision, and your two answers are each answering that sub question in a positive way. So it's all about the QED, whether it's even or it's conversion.
I will ask.
Yeah, I have not really a question, but a remark. It would be very interesting to look at languages where exhaustivity is more grammaticalized, like in Hungarian, because that's it modifies the picture a little bit. I have no answer to that now, but it's came to my mind. So maybe we can look at it.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have good time?
Okay, sure.
Just a quick question. For example, 誰が来ましたか who came? Hanako は来ました。
What
Right. Hanako は来ました。Instead of nominative marker, contrastive or topic marker. So how does you system analysis and incorporate the answer to
Uh,
the information statement.
So you're asking about the topic marker.
Or contrastive one.
Contractive topic marker. Yeah, I haven't worked about the topic marker. Yeah.
The answer doesn't know whether other people came or not, or ignorant about other people. Right? So
So my guess is that we have this in the localized kind of ignorance implication the contrastive or just pure topic marker. Wow. Yeah, this is my idea for now.
we can talk about it later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing.
Okay.